This conference will now be recorded.
It's okay now. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Give me 1 second. I will show you. You can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You see, I downloaded the Eclipse Enterprise version, the latest one.
Okay. So you have any issues while executing that program, or you clear with that, or any issues that you have?
I think it's good, but I just want to review with you. I run it. I think it's good. So you can see,
Okay.
Okay. This one. This one. You see, I named it as a calculator.
Yes.
Class name. So
can you
yes.
increase the font size, Mike? So it was very.
Yes. Sure. Where you know where to adjust the font?
Okay, no issues. Otherwise, I just made zoom here. Fine. From my end, I increased it. So when you want to increase font size, you can just go to the window, and you will have a preferences. You can just go, and you just type text in the search box itself. Search box is there, right? Type text. Yes. So you will get text editor. So click on the text editor. So here you can increase the colors and font. Above you go. You see colors and font. See colors and font. Blue color. Above. Yes.
This one.
Yes. So here you can have an option edit above. Above you have an edit option, right? Use system font, right side.
This one.
Edit.
Oh, sorry.
Edit.
Okay.
So here you will increase the font. Just apply the size.
Is okay. You think 12 is okay or bigger?
Yes. 12 or 14 is fine.
This one?
Just apply. Yes, okay, apply, then it will.
It's bigger, okay? It's bigger.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, basically, not this one. I close this. Yes. So
okay.
you can see, okay, so basically, I create the class calculator, okay? And then I declare, you can see I declare a few variables. There are some like some non-static and some are static, okay? And I assign some values to a few of them.
Okay.
Basically A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Not G, but H, I, J, and X, Y, Z, something like that. And first one, I have several methods. First one is add. So I use like this. I use the parameter for add, and then this one is a void one. And then I have another called subtract, is for the binaries option. And this one is a static one. Static. And then I have a multiply one. Third one multiply. I put it as a return type. And yes, and also I assign a parameter. And the last one is the divide. Divide one is I declare as a static one and not a return. And here is the formula. Here is the formula, and this one is minus, this one is add. And finally is the main method to call. You see, call each function, each method. Sorry, and I use so this one is I create object for add and then calculate, and then for subtract I just call from the class level, and then for multiply I create another object. And I call use the object to call, and for the last one, the division, I create another object and I call from the non-static to static. If you see divided, this one is static, right? So I from a I call from a non-static member to static method, right? And I just show you. Yeah, you see, I got some value. 7, 4, 30, and 5. And you can actually you can take a control if you want. You can take a look.
Okay, okay, I understood. No, it's good, Mike. Actually, actually, it is good, Mike.
It's good, huh?
And what you have done it very good, Mike. So what I suggest is in the when the app can you everything you can declare it one line actually. So when you are declaring int A, B, C, it's not required. So it is increasing the size of the code, right? So int A, comma B, comma C at one line itself you can declare all the variables. You got my point, right? Can you change that?
Can you do you want to take control and to do the change?
You just
or you want me to change?
Yes, yes. So just declare that A, comma B, comma C like that.
But what you mean is like this?
Huh? Yes, 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 yes. So it is not to required you to write a number of lines, right? Then lines gets increases, right? That's the reason. Again, in so it's like anything is not. It's not a nothing you can do anyway, but it's good. That's what I said.
Okay.
Anything is fine.
Okay, okay.
And the thing is nothing but mostly when you do an like the programming perspective, you said it the memory, right? So you should be trying to write a minimal code. It means even you should be trying to write the declaration of variables and the usage should be minimum actually.
Okay, okay, I see. Yeah.
So for example, whatever you done is fine. So with the same A, B, C variables, with the 3 variables itself, I can do all the operations. So it's like you have declared it not like nothing wrong, I'm telling you. So but in general scenario you asked me to like in the perspective of performance, right? So generally when you go for a performance, what you do when you try to start writing a code, you should be trying to write it in a minimal way where you should avoid the declaration of variables, or you should write to reduce the length method coding length. So this makes the code very good actually. So the performance gets improved more.
Yes. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So even you said me that we should be we should be looking in performance perspective, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's fine, Mike. I think now you are very clear with what is static and non-static, and you got a great idea, right? Now you can able to do the thing.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll start sharing my screen. So
okay. I just stop sharing, I think. Okay. And now I minimize this and go back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And I should give you the presenter, or I don't know.
I think I can able to do that because
you can
I have.
Okay. Yeah. Because okay, you have the right. I think. Yeah.
Yes. Now you can able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
So now today we'll be discussing a topic called so I started constructors for you, right?
Yes, constructor. Yes.
Can you repeat it? Like I said, you like there are two types of constructors, right? One is zero parameter and one more is parameterized.
Yes.
So what is a constructor? Will have the same name as your class name. So for example, if I declare a class A like this is my class A, and if I want to write a constructor, I'll be writing like this, right? So now this is my constructor, and your constructor will not have any return type, neither void. So if you write it as void again, so what happens? This becomes as a method. right? So it will not become as a constructor. And by default, every class will have a constructor. So if you write the constructor or if you don't write it, your class will have a constructor. So then you should be getting a doubt. So you have written that calculator program, right? So, and I have shown you some addition programs. So whether you found any constructor there. So this is how you create an object, right? So this is how you create an object. Like this, you are going to create an object. But you have not seen this constructor writing like this, right? In my class, I have not written like this. Have you seen? No. This is like a declaration, but sorry, this is like you are calling it. This is nothing but you are declared it and it is there, right? So then if I don't write this, then who is going to write for me? So as I said, by default, every class will have a constructor. Assume that I write a class like this and I have a method void m1 and I have my main method, right? Assume that this is my main method and I'm creating the object over here. So it's public static void main. I just written like that. So here I don't have any constructor. I don't have any constructor. So generally constructor will be 0 parameter or parameterized. And I don't have any constructor, right? So then what happens whenever you do compiling? So after compiling, what happens is nothing but your code, your compiler will change the code. And what it will do, it is going to add the constructor to this code. After compiling, what happens? The constructor gets added by default by your compiler. So this is the code which is getting added by the compiler, right? And when you run the program, there is nothing the code you have written and you are not getting any output. So whenever your class is not having any constructor, neither 0 parameter or 1 parameter, so your constructor is going to parameterized constructor. So while creating an object, this gets executed, but there is nothing, your constructor will not write any code. It will just write a constructor. So that's the reason you don't get any output. So by this you can understand that every class I take, whatever the class I take, that will have a constructor. Neither you write that or a compiler will write that. If you are not writing a constructor in the class, so when you compile it, so when you are compiling it, your compiler is going to write the constructor, and when you run, you don't get it will be executed, but you don't get any output because there is no code in it. Is it clear, Mike, or any confusion?
Yeah, but why we need a constructor? Like what's the we already have the method. Why we like what's the what's the function for constructor in our Java code? Yeah.
Yes, I'll tell that. So every concept has some usage. So if I don't forget to tell that, please ask me, then I'll be telling it. Right?
Okay.
So I just want to explain you what is constructor, and then I'll just tell you, then you will understand very clear. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just state that constructor is useful for initializing the instance variables. So there is some confusion for you right now. So I'll tell you what is a constructor. I'll tell you this instance variables, what is initialization, this thing. Then you may get more clarity, right?
Mm.
So I'll tell you what is the purpose of constructor. I'll tell you. But as of now, you understood what is this? What I told you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what happens whenever I start the topic, sometimes what I'll do, I'll be telling that usage of the topic at the initial stage. But for some topics, what I'll do, I'll tell that usage at the end of the topic, not like in the end or middle.
Okay.
So where you understood the topic. So that is the way I follow actually.
No problem. Yeah.
But for sure, I'll tell you what is that purpose. So every concept will have a purpose, right? So now you understood what is the purpose of. So we have discussed what is static and non-static, right? So if before starting in non-static, I have not told you what is the purpose of static and non-static. But after completing that topic, whether you got, I think you got the clarity, what is the purpose of static and what is the purpose of non-static, right? So the simple example that I've taken employee ID and employee company ID. So when you do a real application, so you always have this kind of scenario where you want something commonly shared all the objects, and you want something which is unique for every object. So that unique element you take it as non-static, and the unique element that you take it as static, which is common, right?
Yeah.
The same way your constructor will also have a usage. So assume that so this is my nothing but I'm just writing a constructor example, and I have a method in my. So I'm writing inside this. So I'm creating the object of this. So if I want to call that method, I will call ex.m1. So assume that if this m1 method is not there, whether this will work? No, right? It will show.
No, we need the method.
Yes, right. It will show where is that m1, right? So similarly, here what you are doing, you are creating a constructor exe, right? It is like the syntax looks like a method, but it is not a method. But if you see, there is no error thrown here, right? So why? Because your compiler is going to write this. So I don't have any constructor like this in my class. So this is the constructor, right? So if I don't have this also, your compiler is not throwing. Why? Because this is already written by your compiler. So whenever I call ex.m1, what happens? It gets called this. So whenever you create an object, your constructor gets called. What object you are creating? Zero parameter. So obviously your zero parameter is getting called, right? So you understood why the error is not there, because your compiler is writing it. When you compile it internally, the compiler writes this.
But we cannot see it, right?
Yes, yes, you cannot see that. Whenever it's
you
done.
I mean, you cannot see. It's like behind.
Yes, yes, behind.
Okay. Just one question. This is the same for the integer, right? IntelliJ is the same thing, huh? IntelliJ also do that.
Yes, yes. So the thing is, IntelliJ or Eclipse, they are IDs. They are nothing to do about with the Java. You run the same code in Notepad, you run the same code in IntelliJ, you run the same code in Eclipse. So they are nothing to do with Java actually, right? So they will just be in a tool where your Java program executes, right? They have given a tool that it means like they have the Java features where it is going to do the suggestions. So it is like a it's like a user-friendly one. That's it. So it is not going to do anything with the tool. Is not going to change the concept or something. The concept will be same everywhere, right? So I'm just writing inside the zero parameterized constructor. So can you tell me what will be my first statement? I'm calling inside M1 and inside zero parameterized constructor. Can you tell me what is my first statement here? It will be inside zero or inside M1 when I execute this program.
You mean when we execute?
So I'm asking you what is my output. I have two statements here, right? Inside M1, inside 0. So whether this will execute or this will execute. So if both executes, what is my order? I'm just asking you the. So I'm just.
It's a little bit tricky. Let me see. So x and 1. Okay, I think if we write this, the first output should be inside the zero parameter constructor, right? Or not?
Yes, yes, absolutely, Mike. That's what. So you just whenever you create a constructor, it's going to call this. So it's like how you call ex.m1, how it is going to happen. So whenever you create an object, so with what parameter you created an object, you created an object with 0 parameter. So immediately it is going to call this and it is going to execute the statement. As I told you, right? So
I'm right.
Yes, you are right. So inside 0 parameter constructor, and next it's going to call your inside m1.
Yes, first inside the 0 parameter,
yes.
And then the second line is inside the m1.
Yes, yes. So as soon as you create an object, it is going to call this, right? Next, you're calling m1, and that is going to execute. You can see the output. All right, and as I told you, you may have different types of constructors. So it means I have 0 parameter, and similarly I'll have 1 parameter constructor. So what is this 1 parameterized constructor, or I can have 2 parameterized constructor? Every constructor I can tell that as I told you, right? There are 2 classifications. One is 0 parameter and one is parameterized. So in the parameterized, I can write anything, 1 parameter or 2 parameter. Okay, inside 1 parameter. So if I run the output program, can you tell me what is the output, Mike, now?
Can you go up, please?
I just nothing. I have not done nothing. I just added 1 parameter here.
I think the output it will be same as the previous one.
Obviously, right? Mike, yes, it's exactly
because my question because we don't declare A, so I think that will be a problem, right?
Not a problem. It's like we have declared it, but we are not calling. For example, I have a void m2 method. So don't constructor and methods are different, but I'm just making you understand, right? So if I don't call m2 method, will it show me any error? Or what happens? This code which is written in the block will not be executed, right? The same way, you have 1 parameterized constructor, but you are not creating an object with 1 parameterized constructor. So obviously, your code will be the same. So when you run this also, you get the same output. Right? There is no change in it. So, but I'm trying to create an object with 1 parameter. If you see, now what I'm creating, I'm not creating an object with 0 parameter. Before case, I created an object with 0 parameter. In this case, I am creating an object with 1 parameter. So if I run this code, can you tell me the output? So which one will execute? Obviously,
inside the 1 parameter constructor.
And inside M1, right?
And then, yes, and then inside the M1.
And if you want to execute both the statements, what I can do, I can create one more constructor, which will call my 0 parameterized constructor. So similarly, you can have 1, 2, 3, any number of constructors in your class. So I can just make this as 0 parameterized constructor. So the reference variable names are same. That's the reason it has been shown. So now first what will execute? So now you are creating an object. So first this will execute. So next you are creating an object of 0. So next this will execute. Your flow will be same, like from top to bottom and inside M1. One, because I have created 1 parameter first, next 0 because I have created with 0 parameter, and next this. So are you clear with this, Mike?
Yeah, but my question here, I think we should declare the A at the top.
We should declare?
Yeah, we should declare A, the A integer A at the top. we didn't do that.
Where integer A?
Yeah, I think we should put at the top we should declare integer A, right? Or
No, that is not. There is no relation actually. So here, what is this int A here? This int A is your local variable. So for example, if I write something over here, so I told you there are the three kinds of variables that you have. So if I declare a variable here, so what is this variable? This is your instance variable. And if I write a static here, this is your static variable. A variable which is outside the method and inside the class, maybe static or inside based on the keyword that you write. So if I declare any variable here, so this variable will not be a static, this variable will not be a non-static or instance. This variable is local variable. So you cannot say local is static, local is non-static. They are different. So this is the local variable, and the scope of this variable is inside the method. So the memory for this variable will be there inside the method only. So instead of the same, it is like declaring here is same as declaring when you pass the method. When I just call the method, I'm declaring. This is same as declaring inside a method. So it means both the cases your A is your local variable. So it is not your instance variable. So here you are declaring a local variable. So for example, when you have a method with int m1, so how I'll call that method? I'll be calling like m1 and I'll pass that into variable, right? What is my variable I'll have? I'll pass 3 or 4 because here I need to end with semicolon. So because it is only one variable and you are passing that variable. If I have two variables, I'll pass that with two variables, right? So I'll pass 3 comma.
Okay, I see. With because it's a local variable, we don't need to declare at the top.
Yes. So this is your local variable. So it's similar to a method. So when
it's
you
fine.
Have,
it's fine.
So it's when you want to call one parameterized constructor, I'm going to create an object with one parameter. I'm trying to interlink the concept. That's it. So when I have a constructor with 2 parameters, so how I'll be creating an object? I'll be creating an object with 2 parameters.
Yeah.
So I think this points are clear. And here there is a tricky thing. So I have assumed that I don't have any constructor in my class. Neither 1, 2, 0. I don't have any constructor. Can I create an object with 0 parameter?
With 0 parameter, can you create an object like this, right?
Yes, because your compiler is writing the 0 parameter constructor, right? This is the first statement that we discussed, right?
Yes, so you can. So yeah, you can.
So assume that I don't have 0 parameter constructor and I have one parameterized constructor. So now can you tell me, can I create an object with 0 parameter? So before case, try to compare. You should compare both the things, then the concept gets clear. So before case, I don't have this. I don't have one parameter. I don't have anything. So when I don't have anything in previous examples also, how we are creating an object. So what we have seen like addition. So I'm just creating an object with 0 parameter, right? So when I create an object with 0 parameter, as I told you, why you are not showing an error? Because your compiler is writing this 0 parameter and you are not getting an error, right? So now I have one parameter. So when my class is having one parameter, can I able to create a 0 parameter, an object with 0 parameter? I'm asking you. Now can I do this? 18th line, if I uncomment that, so it will show me an error or it is not a problem.
Give me one moment. So in current case, so we create. I think it's fine, right? I think it's fine.
No, it will show me an error.
Oh, why?
I'll tell you why. So it is undefined. So why? So if I remove this, for example, if I remove this one parameter and I don't have one parameter, then that error will go. This is because ext1. Because this is creating, your compiler is creating. So the concept is your compiler will create a constructor if and only if your class is not having any constructors. If your class should not have any constructor, neither 0 or 1 parameter. If your class is having 1 parameter, your compiler will not create an object for 0 parameterized constructor. So compiler will never create an object generally for 1 parameter. Compiler will always create an object with 0 parameter. So when it will do, so if and only if the must condition is your class should not have any constructor. If you see in this case, I do not have any constructor, neither 1 I don't have and neither 0 I have. If you have 0, so it is your compiler will not create. So here why compiler is creating, because I don't have any constructor. That's the reason my compiler is creating that constructor, this 0 parameterized constructor, and I'm not getting any error. But if you're in your class you have any constructor, neither 1 or 2 or 0, whatever the constructor you have, your compiler will not be creating that constructor. So it's your responsibility. For example, now if I have one parameterized constructor, so I can able to create an object with one parameter, but I cannot able to create an object with 0 parameter, because now it is your responsibility to create an object with 0 parameter. The compiler will will not create an object with 0 parameter. It was which was done before, because now your class is having one parameter. So that is the reason it is showing an error. So now it is your responsibility to create a 0 parameterized constructor when you are trying to create an object with 0 parameter.
But so basically your point is, if there is already one constructor, doesn't matter is 0 or is like a parameterized constructor, and you basically, if there is one and you cannot create another object, right? Another object with the same constructor name.
Not like I cannot, your compiler will not create an object. Compiler will not create that constructor.
Yeah. Basically, you have to manually do that.
Yes, you have to manually do that.
Yeah, okay.
It's like when you interlink it, you get more clarity. So basically, before starting the concept, I told you every class will have a constructor. When I say every class will have a constructor, in before examples, I have not written any constructors. But why there is no error? Because this is my example, and here I have not written any constructor. I have not written any constructor, right? So as I told you, you don't have M1 method. You don't have M1 method. Assume that it will show me an error. Obviously, your M1 method should be present. Similarly, I don't have constructor in my class. But why the error is not showing for me? Can you tell me? Because
yeah. I think I got your point. Not because there is no error, because in this, because you don't have any constructor existing, the compiler automatically create a constructor for you. So that's why there is no error.
Yes. Exactly, Mike. So what you do? So your compiler is creating. So, but when your compiler is creating, when you don't have any constructors. So assume that if you're writing one parameterized constructor, your compiler will never create it. I'm writing one parameterized constructor. So now 0 means in 0 also your compiler will not create because it will execute the 0 parameter. So that's a little difference between 0 and default. Default means your compiler is creating. Your compiler also creates 0 parameter only, but your compiler is stating that you call it as default. If you create in your class 0 parameter, I'm not calling it as default. So now I have one parameter. So now this error will be shown because your compiler will not create. You have one parameterized constructor, then why you are creating with 0 parameter? Neither create with one parameter, or if you want to create with 0 parameter, write the 0 parameter constructor. Like that, the compiler will be telling you. So I think you are clear with the statement, Mike.
So you mean what's the difference between the default constructor and the 0 constructor? The difference is the default one is automatically created by the compiler, but the 0 constructor means means you manually create when you manually create the constructor and you don't give any parameter, so that's a 0 constructor, right? That's a difference.
Yes. So I will tell you what is the purpose of constructor, and I'll tell you when I need to use 0 parameter, when I need to use parameterized. So what is the exact difference between them? Even I'll clarify everything, Mike. But before that, I'm trying you just understand the concept wise this was. So at the end of the class or end of this constructor topic, I'll be giving you the surety that you understand what is the purpose of everything. But as of now, the concept is clear or not?
Yeah. As of now, yes. So as of now, I got to the point.
Okay. As of now, don't think why all this, but all this whys will be answered at the end of the session for sure. And I just want to confirm from you, Mike, whether the way that it's like 3 days of class, right? So I just want to get a little feedback from you. Is it fine this way of teaching, or you want something more, or fast or slow, or you want something better? Any suggestions that you want?
Yeah. It's good. Thank you very much. I think it's really good. Just one thing for the for the class related document like a PPT or Word document. Can you I don't know at which point you can share it with me? The purpose just I want to something or we already reviewed, for example, a PPT or document that you have related to the Java. I just want to the purpose is that I can I can review it in before our next session, and then I can I mean just to enhance my understanding the concept.
Yeah. Okay. For example,
that's that's the only thing I want to say.
So for example, constructor topics or something, whatever the topic that I told you.
Because
PPT, you want me to say that PPT, right?
No. I mean, the way is good. Just for the PPT, I mean, just I mean, can you share me at some point, and because in that case I can review the PPT also at by myself and to enhance to enhance my my understanding, something like that. So that's the only maybe suggestion I can say. So
yes.
So
I'll do that. For sure, I'll do that.
Sure, no problem. And you have my email address, right? So yeah.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'll send you an email, or I'll just WhatsApp you. Anything is fine. I'll just do it. No issues.
No, I mean when after class, it's fine. When you have a chance, doesn't matter. For me, just.
So I'll just share you that as of now we have covered with what is the class, the demo PPT.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Whatever I've covered, I'll just share to you, Mike.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Because because for the recording, sometimes like when we upload, maybe because recording like it will be like at least like 1 hour. Like maybe I don't have chance to review each recording before our session, but because if it's in a document, it's easy for me to to go through just to review the concept. That's what I thought.
Okay, fine. I'll do that. Sure, I'll do that. Fine. And so as of now, you're clear, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's actually it's a little bit. It's like it's a little bit. It's more tricky, I think. Yeah,
not more.
Not more tricky. Yeah.
Once you get that little clarity, it will be.
Sure.
So if you want, I'll be explaining it one more time. So where you feel confused. So this
Okay.
concept is not like little tricky, but if you understand it, it will be very easy. So is there any that you faced here? So I'm ready to repeat it again actually. So is that any confusion that you have? So it is not like anything that I'm ready to tell you in number of times that until you understood. So don't. From my end, I'm telling you, it's not at all hesitation from you to ask me to repeat it. So I think you don't have that, but I'm telling from my perspective, I'm ready to. For example, what happens? There will be like for example, I'll tell it in 2 times, but you don't get the concept. So what I do in the 3rd time, I'll not repeat the exactly. So I'll try to search a different way and tell you to understand.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So what I feel is if a person as a student is not understanding, it is the I feel like there should be some change that has to come from me. It is not from you. That is what I feel.
Okay.
I will try to tell you in a better way if you don't get the way that I told you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Because I think because I wrote code before, like for example, for like automation or like to write code in for automation or like for performance testing. But it's I think in the as the QA it's much simpler like than if as a developer.
Okay.
I think that's why. I think they are only where like the basic things when they have much more like complicated like code. Yeah. So
yes.
That's why I thought. Yeah, but it's good. It's good to know. Yeah.
Yes. So here one more time I'm telling you. So when your compiler will write a constructor, so compiler will write what constructor? Compiler will write a 0 parameterized constructor. So here the concept is your compiler will write a constructor, will write the constructor 0 parameter constructor if and only if the class is not having any constructor. Structure neither 0 or 1, 0 or not 1, 0 or parameter, 0 or parameter. Parameterized constructor. So this is the whole point I'm trying to explain to you. That's it. So there will be some problem with me. Problem in the sense, not a problem. Like so, my class generally what will be like, Mike. So I'll tell some concept. I'll go somewhere and I'll try to interlink it and I'll try to make the student little confused. So what happens whenever you're very listening it, like every word that comes from me, or we are very concentrating only, there are things that understands, because the perspective that I'll be telling you, in that perspective I'll be telling you. So if you find some deviation, it will be little difficult for me. I'll not go in a point wise concept. I'll just go while I'll tell the topic like a random way. I'll tell something, I'll interlink the thing that I told you in the beginning. So this is how I'll tell the classes actually. So it's my way of communicating. So, but if you find that a little difficult or something, please let me know. Like, I'll not be telling you in the point to point wise. You're getting me right, Mike? What I'm telling you?
Yes, yes.
So until if you are not clear, until you are clear, that will be fine actually. Okay, here if you see, so here you don't have you have one parameter, and I have one parameterized constructor, and I just want to execute. I'll just write inside one parameter. So you may get doubt, right? Why this constructor and what is the purpose of these constructors? So mainly the constructor is helpful to instantiate, or to, I can say, to assign some value to the instance variables. So I just want to assign some value to an instance, where instantialize the some value to my instance variable at the time of creating an object. I can use constructor. Sorry, inside one. So when I'll be how, for example, I don't have constructor. Assume that I have int a variable, right? So in this a variable, this is a non-static variable or a object level variable. So if I want to access that value, so if I print that value, what will be the value for that, Mike? So how would your
the value should be at the beginning should be zero.
Be zero, because your object is going to created with your variable is going to be created with 0 parameter, right? So the object, the value for that will be 0, because whenever you create an object, it will always take all the instance variables. For example, now the instance variable is a, so it will take that instance variable and assign the value for that will be 0. So, but whenever I am creating the object, I want to use some value to the variable. So then I can do that in my constructor. So it means whenever you are creating an object, you want to initialize some value. You want to give some values so that I can able to write inside my constructor. So for example, I'm creating this exe object. So while creating itself, I'm giving that instance value as a 3. So now if I'm trying to print that value, it will be 3. So if I don't have this, if I don't do this inside a constructor, it is going to print me the 0 value. So as you know why it is 0, right? So but while creating an object itself, I want to give some value to a variable. So I'll be doing it. So now you can see the output is 3. So whenever you do some application, what happens is nothing but you want to do initialize some values. So while creating an object itself, you want to give some values to the instance variables that are present, so that I can declare it in a constructor. It is not only the instance variables. For example, when I'm creating an object itself, I want to perform some action. I just want to read some data from the file. I just want to establish the database connections. it's like your requirement based on your application. So you have some for example, when you do an application, you may have some what kind of variables is nothing but uh, uh, a variable that will be common. For example, when you are log into an application, so you have the data, right? So whatever your name and your ID, this data. So this is nothing but a data which will be carried forward to all the pages. So this is the constant data, right? So whenever you create an object itself, you want some values to be given to that instances, to that variables. So that I'll be writing inside a constructor. So any value that I want to do initialization, I'll go with a constructor. So now you may get one more doubt, why when I need to use the 0 parameter and when I need to use the 1 parameter. So the same like static and non-static. So whenever I want some value to be common for all the objects, I'll be using it in 0 parameter. So for example, as of now, you have a 0 parameter and I am creating two objects, ex1 and ex2, right? So, and I'm printing the values which is present in your ex1 and ex2, right? So when I'm printing the values which is present in your ex1 and ex2, can you tell me what is that values which are present now? If I run that output, what is my answer, Mike? It will be
can you go up? ex1 ex1 ex2 and you don't okay 加许 output system output should be inside let me see inside not inside should be 3 huh?
Yes, should be 3 and even inside 0 also will come, right? So so first object, you are creating an object, what happens, it will call here and inside 0 parameter will execute, and for that after executing you will give for this object you have a variable, right? So for that object, the a variable it will give us 3, right? And again what happens, it will come here and again one more object you are creating. This is my second object. Now what happens, again this constructor will call and again what will give, it will print inside 0 parameter and again for that variable it will give 3, right? So now you have two a variables, that is your instance means I said it will be different, right? So for two variables you have common value that I'm printing. So now your output should be inside 0 parameter constructor, inside 0 parameter constructor and 3 3, that is your output. Inside 0 because it is calling 2 times, and so whenever it call, it is giving that value for the a variable which is present in the first object as 3 and the value for the second for this a variable which is present in the second object also 3. We are giving the same value to the both the objects of here. Are you understanding, Mike, or some confusion?
Yes.
Yes means
and
some confusion. Understanding.
Yes, I think it's calling a constructor, yeah. Can you go down, please?
Give me putting tab.
So here, like where to call a constructor? Here is calling it's calling constructor, like because here just to outprint the a, right? So
yes.
where like why we all where they are calling the two like two sentence?
So if you see, this is my how many objects I'm creating?
2.
2, right? So when I create this object, what happens? Which one will get called? This one, right?
Yeah.
And what it will do, it will print inside 0 parameter, right? And you have EX object, and for that you have a variable. So this is my instance variable, right? A is my instance variable. So for that, what is the value that it is giving? So take out this M1 which we are not using. So what is the value that we are giving as?
Yes, three.
I'll just debug it. So it may be more clear for you. So, debug as Java application. You see. Now first what happens, your compiler comes to this place, right? To the main method. So if you see, this is the first statement it gives. So you have an arguments, right? So this is the main method, you have passed arguments. So your JVM will call with 0 arguments. Sorry, empty arguments, because they are not passing anything. So now what happens after executing F6 is nothing but when you want to move forward. So when I press F6, it will come to the 17th line and your object will be created. So now before creating an object, so this is the place, right? I told you, whenever you create an object, which one will execute? This constructor will execute, right? So now what happened? This constructor is getting executed and your object got created, if you see. And what your object is having, this is nothing but current object, will see. And this is your object reference. If you see constructor, this is nothing but my hash code. Your hash code ends with 2D6, right? This is 2D6. It means it is one object. This is one of hash code of the object that is present. Now what this object is having, this object is having a variable.
I know. Okay, I know my question now.
So now what a value you are giving here, you are giving that a value as 3. Now what happens? It comes to the 17th line again. Now you asked me how the 2 times it is getting calling, right? So 2 objects you are creating. Whenever you create an object, that will call this. So now if you press F6 and now I'm pressing, what happens? This is my EX1 object got created. This is my first object. And what is the A value in that object? 3. And I'm pressing again. So where it will go? Again, it will go to the constructor, right? So again, it comes to this constructor. So that's the reason it printed inside 0 parameter first time, first object. Now what happened? This is for second object. You see, this is the different object. And you can have that hash code as different also. You know, but I'm just making it. That is 6D something, this is 5.1. So this is my second object. I press F6, what happened? So now that for the second object, the A value is 0 initially, and you are trying to give it as 3. So while creating an object, you are instantiating the value. And where it comes again, so this, it comes to the main method again, and it is going to print that 3 value that we added. If you see, there are 2 objects got created, A and
yeah. Actually, so yeah. I got the point, and also I agree with you. Like for the 2 numbers, I have no issue. My question, you know, my problem is because like my problem is why we get the inside the 0 parameter constructor twice, because what I thought before, because I thought I thought we said when we create the object, right, like object ex1, object ex2, and because I agree on that, like the compiler will automatically create the constructor, right, like a default constructor. Yeah, so why I yes, like but my question is like but because I thought it only create, but it will not call. That's why I was like I was not sure why, I was not understand why we got the two lines. But now I think I got it. When we create the object ex1, ex2 with the constructor, it will be created and also called, right? It will create and call, not only create.
Already created actually. So now your compiler, don't think now your compiler is not going to do anything. So now I have 0 parameter, right? So your compiler is not going to create a constructor in this case.
Oh yes, I agree.
Right?
It will not. Yeah, it will not. But so in this case, it will call it, right? In this case, it will call.
Yes, it is just like a calling. So for example, when you have M1 method and you are calling that M1 twice, what happens? That M1 method will twice, it will print the output, right? So the same way, you have a constructor and you are just calling it twice. That's it. It's like you are creating. So the point is, whenever you create an object, the constructor is get called. If I create an object with 0 parameter,
it will when you create, the constructor will get called.
Yes, whenever you create an object, the constructor will get called. So for example, if I create with 0 parameter object with 0 parameter, the 0 parameter constructor gets called. If I'm trying to create an object with 1 parameter, this is the syntax of creating an object, right? Writing a new, and this is what you are creating an object. So the point is, whenever you create an object, if you create with 0 parameter constructor, if you get it with 1 parameterized constructor, whenever you create, that is going to get called. That's it.
Okay, now I got it. Yeah. My issue was the calling, like where to call. So, but now I got it. When you create an object, it's calling. It's get called.
Yes. So why it is getting called? So I thought that I just want to tell you again. So that's the reason I just repeated that concept that what I told you earlier. I think this CA assigning these things I have told you, but it's just like a recall. I just repeated it. So what I focus is nothing but how much time we spend in this core concepts does not matter actually, because
Hello. 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 Hello.
Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah. Now,
I lost my network. So anyway, we'll wind up the class because it's 8:40.
Yes. No, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's not like point of sorry. So why sorry? So
Okay.
I'll just share this example.
Yeah. Okay. I will take. I will record. I will save the code.
Okay, I'm just stopping my record. So I'm just leaving the session, Mike. Thank you.
Okay. So okay. Connect tomorrow. Okay. Have a good night.
1 hour delay.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Yes. 11. Yeah. 11 a.m. for me. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.